Hi everybody, welcome back to another business analysis video. If you're just joining for the first time, welcome. My name is Pippa and I share business analysis knowledge. This is part 2 of our case study and looking at the business analysis roadmap. So if you haven't watched part 1, please click on the link here or here to watch part 1 and get up to speed with the topic that we're covering, which is a live project, a case study, so that you can start to put together the little pieces of the business analysis approach and tasks within project delivery. Okay, so welcome to part 2. In today's video, we'll be looking at the scope of the project as well as stakeholders. Okay, please bear in mind that I kind of thought this up, so with regards to stakeholders. But anyway, remember in our last video I said that the first thing you would do is speak to the project manager, who will give you a guide on who to speak to, probably also share certain documents that you can get up to speed with what the project entails. As a reminder, the project is looking at migrating from an in-house CRM system to a cloud-based system within 9 months. Okay, so the scope of the project, right? So you now have the the content, the context of the project. You also want to understand what is the scope. Scope means what is everything that encompasses the project. This is when we look at what is in scope, and then out of scope will be something that is outside the project, that wouldn't necessarily have any impact. So in scope is everything within the project and anything that will have impact on the project. Okay, now the scope of our project is, what are we going to do? We have to analyze the current in-house CRM system, as well as identifying the key functionalities that need to be transferred to the cloud-based system. Okay, that's one part of the scope, and it's kind of common sense as well. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at migrating from in-house to the cloud. What are we first going to do? First, I have to analyze what we currently have in the in-house CRM system. And at the same time, we also need to identify all the key functionalities within the CRM system that needs to be transferred to the cloud-based system. Bear in mind that we haven't decided what the cloud-based system will be. In our business case, we'll have an options analysis section, which will have details about various cloud-based systems, maybe 3 or 4, what the cost is, how much the suppliers would charge, how much time it would take them to deliver, and other functionalities that will add nice value to the organization. So this is what the business case will also have, and then one of the stakeholders or your sponsor or the key stakeholder will then decide, based on the options available, what is best for the organization to go with, and then your project can now fully start. Okay, so we have looked at number 1, scope. The second scope is to select the suitable cloud-based platform that meets the business needs. And again, how are we going to do this? We'll go back to our options analysis, right? The third one is to develop a plan. Right now, we're looking at this from a project perspective, the things that we're supposed to do within scope of delivery for our project. We need to develop a migration plan, which will also include the timeline, the resource allocation, and the testing. Timeline, remember that we have 9 months. How many people do we need for delivering this project? Who are the key people? Is it BA? Is it solutions architect? Is it QA? Right? We want to allocate our resources. And then we also need to plan the testing of the system. The fourth scope is to ensure that the migrator system is fully functional. We need to this is very, very important aspect of it. We need to ensure that the system that we're migrating to is fully functional, is efficient, and is user friendly. It meets our high level requirements, right, which will fit to our low level. So these are all sort of common sense things. Maybe because I'm speaking from experience, but I feel like they are common sense things to think about within scope of any project. And finally, The final scope of this project will include providing training to the end user so that you can ensure a smooth transition to the new system. So these are the top 5 scope of the project. Now, please remember that as much as we're working on this case study of migrating to a new system, you can apply this to any project, any type of project. These are the steps you would take. You want to have a general background of the project. You want to know what the objective of your project is, and you also want to know the scope. How does business analyst get this? Working closely with your project manager at the initial stage. Now, you've determined the scope of the project. You now want to identify the key stakeholders that this project will impact. Again, remember that your project manager will help you if you're a newbie business analyst, if you've just joined the company, or if you've just joined the project. If you've been a business analyst there for a while, you will start to know who and who, you would have built certain relationships. But anyway, for the purpose of our project, our stakeholders are the business analyst, the IT team, because for the current system, they're the ones, certain members such as the admin, they're the ones who really know what the system, our current system does, okay, and certain other technical bits of the system. You also will have your end users, who are the main users of the system, certain employee types, the admin and certain departments. You want to identify who are those key users. I'm trying not to go over, because as much as you're identifying who are those key users, you also want to know what do they use the system for, how do they use it, and all those various other aspects, which we will cover in the BA approach. Bear in mind, we haven't even covered the BA approach. We're just in case study project background. Now, another stakeholder that has been identified on this project is the management team, the managers, right? And then finally, the 5th stakeholder is your third-party vendors. These are the ones that are delivering the system on cloud. Okay, so that's the end of part 2. I hope you now have a better and deeper understanding from part 1 to today's video of the background of the project, the objectives, the scope, what the project will entail, as well as your key stakeholders. Now, at this stage, remember you're having that initial conversation with your project manager. You might also have the sponsor in those meetings to help you really understand the objectives and the scope. And this, as a business analyst, you would just document it somewhere in your personal document, or it's also great to start documenting this in I don't know, maybe a template within the organization, or within Confluence if you're mainly an agile organization. But that's the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope it's giving you some clarity of the case study that we are working on. As always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content. A lot of my viewers are not subscribers, and according to my analytics, YouTube analytics, there's around 70% or so of you who aren't subscribed. Please subscribe so that I can gain the value from YouTube, and I can also feel motivated to continuously deliver this business analysis content. As always, thank you for watching, and look out for part 3. I'll see you in my next one.